Hi there. We're three guys, and we're going to be talking about theology today. My name's Chris. Joining us live over the internet is my good friend Jose DJ Legaspi. We'll call him DJ. And to my left here is Rick, the theologian philosopher, Aquinas. We're going to talk today about an issue that is so basic, but yet I think it's definitely worth talking about. We're going to ask the question today, what is Christianity? This is important because Christianity is obviously among the top religions that are popular over all the earth, and it makes sense to talk about what Christianity is, and I think equally as important, what Christianity isn't. What do you guys think? Well, how do we start off this discussion here?
I think a good way to start off this discussion is to begin by stating what Christianity is not, just like you pointed out right now. So, at this segment, we're going to deal with popular misconceptions about Christianity. So, I got the first one right here written down that we could begin to discuss, and it's this. Christianity is not merely moral nitpicking. Christianity is not merely a list of do's and don'ts. Just do this and don't do that. That is not what Christianity is. For example, Christians are sometimes labeled as being all they care about is certain moral issues. For example, abortion or homosexuality, where Christianity has been reduced to just don't be gay or don't have abortions or wait to have sex until you're married. That has become, in a lot of people's minds, their conception of Christianity. And I propose to dispel of that view of Christianity, because obviously we believe it's more than that, but for the time being, let's just say that is not all that Christianity is.
And I could see how someone might see Christianity as being that, because when you turn on the news, when you see Christians active in culture and active in our society, it's always in a capacity where they're protesting or they're saying this is bad or don't do this or we need to stop this in our schools, in our streets, in the public. And that just seems to be the popular way that people always see Christians being active in culture and in our society. What do you think, DJ?
You guys are right.
Very keen observation.
I think it's true. Yeah, I think it can be. It's not about nitpicking. I think it's a much more broader, I guess. A much more broader religion, but then again, it's very strict. So. I characterize Christianity as a worldview, but I have a pretty good definition, so I'll just wait till we get there.
Okay. So, we all agree that Christianity is not merely a list of do's and don'ts. Right? We agree with that?
Definitely.
There's something more to it. Another popular misconception that I come across is that Christianity is irrational, or maybe mythological, or pure fantasy, or just a personal subjective belief that a person has. And what I want to dispel at this point is that Christianity is not just mere superstition or mythology or irrationality, pure subjective reasoning. I say that that's not what Christianity is. You guys want to support that claim or what?
Well, I can understand why someone, again...
I think there's a...
Go ahead, DJ.
Go for it. Oh, I think, I was going to say, I think that there's elements of Christianity that are subjective. And I think I would catalog, or I wouldn't necessarily catalog them because they've already been cataloged for me as, like we talk about some of the great areas. And in which scripture, it's not very specific. It's not explicit about it. So I think up to up to a certain term, up to a certain degree, Christianity is subjective, but not in its not when you take it as a whole. So in other words, there are subjective elements,
Can you give us an
but not
example?
as a whole.
Can you give some examples?
Well, people think that drinking. Some people think that drinking is wrong. I'm personally a Christian. I think that to be a Christian, one needs to have the essentials of Christian belief, but these are secondary essentials, which are subjective. In other words, that's one of the things. Another thing that I am very, I guess you could say, skeptic about it, but to some degree it might be subjective, is how people see the manifestations of the Spirit, how the Spirit manifests in people's lives, and by this I'm talking about people speaking in tongues. I think this could be a subjective subjective topic to a certain degree.
Well, some of the
What do
main
you guys think?
when I said that Christianity is not merely belief or merely a mythology or just an irrational worldview, what I was hinting at was a pretty common charge, which is leveled by some of the more intellectual people. For example, university professors, or maybe even more popular commentators like Bill Maher, people on HBO, who they assume a role of intellectual superiority, and they accuse Christianity as falling short of meeting certain contemporary, let's say, scientific standards, where the current body of science is pretty advanced. They claim to have certain knowledge about certain things, and they claim to have certain truths collected, but Christianity doesn't have anything truthful. It's just a personal belief. There's a apologist, Greg Koukl from Stand to Reason, who normally distinguishes between different types of beliefs, between subjective and more objective beliefs. He might say something like this. For example, math. Is math the kind of thing where it's right or wrong, or is math kind of like what kind of flavor of ice cream you like? Whereas in the second discussion, you can't prove to somebody that chocolate is better than vanilla. That's just my preference and your preference. But there's not really one right answer. And a lot of intellectuals would say that Christianity is like chocolate, whereas some people like Buddhism and other people like Judaism, and we just happen to enjoy the Christian flavor. It's just a mere subjective belief. It's not really factual, unlike science, which is factual. So that's kind of what I was hinting at when I was saying that Christianity is not just irrationality, not merely subjective beliefs, but perhaps something more.
Well, in that regards, I think Christianity has really been undersold or underrepresented, and it's obvious when we see how widely known and how widely accepted books like The God Delusion are, and common atheistic principles or ideas, just how commonly and how widely accepted they are, when their counterparts or the arguments against them for atheism or for theism, philosophical reasons for theism, those are so much. I think if someone were really to look into those, they'd be so much more thorough and so much more concrete than some of the ideas given by, say, a Richard Dawkins or a Christopher Hitchens. We'll look a little more into that as we go ahead here.